Here we are again, folks. It's time we tackle the third entry in SMG4 cinema and complete the cosmology saga. Let's give this unconventional but amazing adventure the credit it deserves. Of course, this review won't be spoiler-free to those who haven't watched this movie or storyline in its entirety, so I suggest you take the time to fix that. But if you already all have or are genuinely that careless, feel free to watch and share this video to your fellow glitch fans and detractors alike. Oh yes, and without further ado, let's begin. It begins where it left us off in the Great Beyond, which is actually our world, mainly under Niall's control, and the box they are traveling in the spaceship towards the God Box. The leader's desire for unlimited power gets the best of him through impatience. So Niall's offers him a pizza box to play with, reminding us that power isn't the only thing he craves. The God Box appears as a regular box within our universe, but from the character's perspective, it's an intimidating entity in space. Approaching it, the box opens, granting access to the villainous duo. The leader, without hesitation, dives in and obtains the thing he desires. Unfortunately, he becomes overwhelmed by the source, causing him to be consumed by it and explodes in a fiery death.
Idiot.
Back at the Omnia Academy, the gang managed to escape the observatory and run through the library with contempt from previous events. Stepping outside, they witness a horde of meteors falling from the red sky since the God Box is open. One of them crashes into the entrance, knocking the crew out. SMG4 wakes up as Brent's injured from the meteor, urging him to devise a plan to save the world yet again, or keep his family safe if nothing else. The gang is told to keep their acquaintances under shelter by leading them to the bunker, which is likely the same one used in the Genesis arc. Mario throws the Toads and his deadbeat princess into a dump truck. Maggie briefly goes to Inkopolis to protect Destiny's former crew and so on. 3 digs out the old man under rubble with the help of Terrence's dog-like abilities. Then asks where 1 and 2 are during this catastrophe. Just in the nick of time, they arrive in their own ship, resembling their Guardian pod, while they bought 3 and 4s as well. They've been hiding the USB from the public eye under their mattresses, possibly inspired by the undersea crab.
SMG1 and 2.
4 and 3 transform their pods into a single ship, and Mario asks if he can come along for the ride. 4 is initially hesitant, but knowing he's the Avatar, he's allowed to partake in the adventure under a Pingus promise not to mess things up. The Guardians and the Plumber fly into the Great Beyond, escaping their home in hope of fixing it. While in space, they are explained that this place is the universe that links all other universes together. They also witness a giant arriving in their proximity, who 4 recognizes to be extremely familiar. But to tell you the truth, it's Luke in his studio, and he's been keeping the box there for safekeeping. They make it, so Mario, 3, 4 go in to search for Melanie, while 1 and 2 stay behind to figure out how to close the box. Within it, they discover a creepy, corrupted Mushu that sets out to kill them. While hiding from the monster, 3 experiments with its power by harnessing it, with 4 giving their skin an evil look and destroying it. 1 says it was an anti-meme and claims that using them is dangerous, explaining their change in appearance and behavior. After finding out the God Box is home to various universes, they continue their search and exploring them. Worlds of bananas, unsettling imagery, and long-term abandonment are a sample of what they could encounter. Suddenly a horde of anti-memes lunges at the group, making the Guardians fight back and turn power-hungry. This frightens Mario, and 4 snaps out of it after yelling at him, while 3 is pleased with the action. They find Niall's spaceship heading towards a particular universe and engage in a dogfight until the hero's ship gets heavily damaged. Having no options left, they use anti-meme energy again to destroy the enemy. But Mario's worried that could kill Melanie as well. Both spaceships end up destroyed and they all plummet into the same destination. Little do they know, this place is where it all truly started. In this mysterious world, a jolly blue alien is frolicking through the field. He then witnessed the Guardian spaceship crash land near his home. Noticing the uncautious trio, he takes them into the treehouse to nurse back to health. Once they wake up, he greets himself as the real SMG4. Four asks if he's related to the monster that tried to destroy their universe. And he lies down in regret. Distressed, he explains the story behind the turmoil. Long ago, Zero and his friend named Fred, no, not him, used to have fun in their world with memes of all things until they become corrupted without a way to fix things. Cornered, a black and orange USB crash lands in front of him and takes Zero under its wing, flying him through Luke's soul room to the God box. It has summoned him thanks to his predicament, so Zero prayed for help, thus summoning or creating Niles. Together, the three invented the internet graveyard. The Century 3 will later take ownership of making them original meme guardians. Everything was fine and dandy for them until Niles faced corruption from the God box. Through its jurisdiction, it convinced him to destroy the world by killing Fred and making a perfect universe. Zero, against his will, merges with Niles, transforming into the evil giant Mike Wazowski we know, who will then go on to destroy countless universes, including the Toy Kingdom, in an attempt to wreck the SMG4 universe years later. When Melanie slashed Axel to save their skins, Zero fled to the universe built to resemble one he lost as Niles inserted himself into Melanie's subconsciousness, thus explaining why he only talked to her at school. The whole time he's been scheming to create his own universe that only he and his friends can have fun and at cost of various lives they ended, assuming their body count is more than 3. Meanwhile, Niles had crashed not far from Zero's treehouse. Melanie awakens in a dark castle, opening rooms of illusion featuring a presumed biological family, some Axel businessman that could also be Axel's family, and some invite versions of her friends. Oh my God! Horrified, she tries to run away from it. All but is greeted by Axel, who turns out to be his Eldritch counterpart, proceeding to torment her by reminding about a man that could have been her special one. He explains that her friends will suffer the same fate and tears up her drawing before finishing off. But Melanie retaliates by channeling her negativity into determination. She whacks the hallucination, granting her access to a Commodore 64, continuing the game Mahi. This is a representation of Zero and Fred's old universe, and she learns the truth herself through the device, realizing why things are the way they are. Melanie angrily states that she'll never forget Niles for what happened in the past year. The Black Void opens up another door, which is the path to regain control of herself. Back at Zero's, after he tells his side of the story, Four figures out Niles tracking him down is why he possessed Melanie and tells him to hide. But it's far too soon. Niles barges in with her deity form, and Zero begs him to spare his acquaintances, yet refuses. Mario delivers a brutal kick, proclaiming he will stop to the madness in a fit of uncommon bravery. But Niles fights back hard. Melanie approaches the throne with Niles wearing the fierce deity mask. She pulls it away from him, separating their subconsciousness. The opponents are relieved to see her back to normal, but Niles, now in the flesh, holds Zero hostage, and once again merges into the virus our heroes try to take out? Is our favorite world wacky hijinks or in friendship doom? Let's find out. Eldritch Zero destroys his true counterpart's house and has Mario and the Guardians in the palm of his hand. About to eat him, Melanie at full power holds him off with some fantastic battle moves. They run towards the ship trying everything they can to turn it on, but thankfully Terrence was there to do just that and they're able to operate it again. As they're about to flee, Melanie is consumed by the demon, shocking the trio. For especially thinking he lost another member of his team he considered a friend. While speeding towards the great beyond, 1 and 2 explain that they've been unable to close the god box and decide to harness all the energy they can to blow it up. 4 agrees with the idea, hoping to outdo the memory of Melanie's demise. During their escape, the monster throws a floating eye at them, ultimately wrecking their ship and leaving them moments away from their curtain call. Melly is knocked out inside Zero's stomach, yuck, as her subconsciousness is in an undisclosed dimension. It happens to be somewhere near heaven, as the real Axel stands in front of a bright portal. He checks out her drawing that she restored earlier and is impressed with her art skills. She comes to the realization that this is actually her near-death experience, as Axel gives her the choice to reunite with him or save their friends, although it is unclear they will join them if she leaves them defeated. Melanie at first doesn't want to lose him again, but makes an agreement to wait for him until time comes and goes on to save her home as Axel waves goodbye. Moments before disaster, Melanie awakens and bursts out of Zero, and now stronger than ever, determined to take down Naos for the final time. The others struggle to figure out how to protect themselves from the anti-meme horde, not wanting to use their energy again to avoid corruption. 3 forces himself to give up his dearest pet to convert the enemy's energy into power that he safely use. Terrence secretly wishes his master goodbye, as his essence merges with the anti-memes and is ejected to Mario, transforming into his floating head form. They ride to the exit while taking care of the obstacles, as Melanie is still fighting their nemesis. 1 and 2 warn them time is running out since they can't control the bomb any longer. Melanie stuns Zero by stabbing him in the eye, breaking Niles' controls as the bomb drops. The real Zero breaks free from his chamber and sees Niles trying to keep himself alive. He begs him to stop everything, but still refuses to. The heroes are nearly escaping the box with the monster about to drag them down, but in the heat of the moment, Zero halts his progress. He's then upset he never had the perfect universe, but his friend assures him the afterlife is what he's looking for. Realize he doesn't have to drag other people into their failures. He happily cheers his fate with his best friend, learning Fred is likely waiting for them. Plus, along with Spugnant, because God knows that conversation would be quite the hood. They walk peacefully into the light as the virus is left in an explosion, allowing the true Guardians to perfect their own universe. The god box is completely destroyed and everyone makes it out alive. Crash landing into the Mushroom Kingdom. The others who have been guarding the bunker during this insane space adventure are happy to see their friends back in one piece and their home back to normal. Mario is also relieved about the news, immediately asking if he could have some celery pasta. The aftermath has the citizens rebuilding the world from the apocalypse, 3 mourning the loss of Terrence and immediately latching onto his new pet, an egg dog. In the former Bug Club forced to clean up they caused at Omnia Academy, enough days have passed to the graduation ceremony at the college, where Melly gives her speech about getting back up from bad situation, not letting the flame die out, and moving on to better things in order to live life to embrace fanfare. Later, the gang celebrate her graduation and thank her for saving the universe. To celebrate, they go planned on Suprimate where they can either party or relax for a good while. 4 of the 3 summon Buzz and everyone hops on board. Mainly in the matter that Closure looks to the sky saying she has a lot to do before she can meet again with her special one. And they depart for vacation. Rest easy, paisanos. So this is what anyone would expect coming off War of the Valentines 2021. While it may be another epic in the era filled with them at the box office as a video that's part of the free series, it's a banger. Every part checks out my expectations. The plot, the characters, the pacing, the action, the voice acting, and the heart. Mainly versus Zero battles and absolute obvious but awesome highlight. And the emotional parts never fell out of place. Of course, there are bits where it took really amateur, but it doesn't take you out of the experience since the editing is still pretty competent. I also get the kid out of the character development for SMG4 and 3. Originally, I thought the latter was crossing back to his old habits with foreshadowing the inclusion of anti-memes, but as of now they finally buried the hatchet. 4 was heartbroken when he thought Melanie was a goner even if they were never that close. Mario knew about the situation around him and thankfully didn't disrupt the mission while showing concern for his friends, making him almost resemble the real plumber everyone loves. I gotta give props to the writers for making Niall surprisingly sympathetic even if it is the last minute. He was just wanted a place where he and his only 2 friends can thrive. While that sounds selfish on the surface, it's simultaneously a little admirable as Zero's story provided good explanation for the origins of the SMG4 universe. Lastly, there's Melly who went from a childish ditz to a powerful badass who was going hard throughout the saga, and a far cry from the blank slate of cynical claims heard to be to this day. Each of these aspects earns this movie a bona fide 10 out of 10. Fantastic work, you guys. This is actually your best special yet. Next, it's time to go over my feelings of the Revelations arc. It's a little surprising that this dropped not long after the previous story and had concluded and finished only 4 months in. Looking at the package, it's just as alright as I explain my issues with each episode throughout this run. Most of them before Mario and the God Box didn't feel like there was a grand plan going on. They felt like an episodic sub-series you find regularly on the channel but with bits of continuity. Yes, I remember Genesis took breaks from the story as well. I'm not saying this type of episode disrupts the flow or mediocre in their own right. What I'm saying is they revealed another story right before the finale. And this time it required context from the previous arc to get the whole thing, thus creating the Cosmology Saga. I would have preferred if the events of Absolute Betrayal were included in the movie, so as not to make unfamiliar viewers feel like they missed something and give them enough time to catch up. But I have to say this, whenever a new arc is revealed, it's not up to the fans to decide when they should give out the news. I get the surprise factor might not go over well as for everyone, mostly to viewers who lack interest in storytelling to begin with. But you have to understand where they're coming from, since their decision is based on their schedule and creativity. My main criticism of this story is that Omnia Academy was more of a backdrop for the narrative rather than a completely different location, as a slice of life is no stranger to the show at this point. It almost reminds me of the Rapper Bob arc in terms of lack of adventure, which isn't a bad thing, mind you, yet I think I know what could it represent. The characters, and by extension the creators, are growing up with the audience, hence why Maggie and Millie are becoming adults like a portion of their demographic. And the message about moving on from your mistakes, it's a stretch, but I guess that's something. What this story says I'll achieve did fairly well, things considered. An origin story for Zero and Niles. Melanie's growth for power as a character. The meme guardians serving their purpose in the universe. And it very much answers the question the Genesis arc gave us. I say that makes up for the lack of videos of this time around, like with most of their videos. There is stuff that could have helped make this movie more legendary for the channel, such as expanding on the live action universe established from the real Mario in real life videos released years ago. Though I'm not the one to lose sleep from the concepts, they haven't decided to revisit. To me and everyone else who feel this way, this era of the series is one big thank you for tuning in so long by advancing in front of and opening the door for more possibilities. Even there's a bunch of things they could have done better, or we to disagree about our premises for the show. Yeah, if only it were that simple. I wish we move on to the conclusion next. But yet there is some stuff we need to get off our chest. I'm doing so because I don't want to make a segment like this again. So prepare yourself, folks. Time to finish it once and for all. I know this makes me come off as a broken record, but it doesn't make me anything I say less valid. You see, I've been very vocal about how social media mistreats creators for good reason. Again, SMG4 isn't the only YouTuber with this problem. Many other creators that are operated for around 10 to 15 years get consistently scrutinized for changes in the content. Criticism is well deserved when the YouTuber in question really is making garbage or is an outright psychopath, but not so much when they're trying to make an honest living or have made an inconsequential mistake. I see this happen more than it should on Twitter and Reddit at times. At best, they find someone has gotten annoying throughout the years, or at worst, start a hate group for who they associate with and not give a chance to prove themselves with their new stuff. If you want a good example of this, look no further than the state of angry video game nerd as of late. Yes, there is a mob surrounding one of the nicest guys on the internet and his iconic web show. I urge you to watch Lady Emily's video that covers the drama on Cinemassacre if it hasn't reached your recommendation yet. It's long, but it will tell you everything. Point is, I keep saying they're grown out of their concept because taste changes over time, but they seem like admitting they're wrong and claim to be looking out for the greater good. This type of mentality is straight out pleasant in my book. They keep saying this guy fell off over and over instead of ignoring them and relieving their favorite videos while showing gratitude and respect. And I can guess why. YouTube has advanced entertainment being the next television. It has done a lot for humanity, but it keeps making stupid mistakes and that disadvantages others, which prevents itself from becoming a perfect platform. Classic YouTube had almost none of that, so they look back at old content much fondly. I get that, but it doesn't mean they should ignore the people trying to make the best of a bad situation and that they're aware of the company's screw-ups, wanting to fix them as soon as possible. Sadly, SMG4 and arguably Glitch Productions as a whole become a victim of a circumstance, and not because they want to be bigger, but because of the time they decided to, as it become normalized to hate on corporation for manipulative and power-hungry actions, despite them being an indie studio which has yet to have that track record. It's no secret that their fanbase is quite a mixed bag. As one hand, there's the purists who are incredibly egotistical, leaving off tar and feathering current videos because they interrupt missing characters and modern trends as neglect and betrayal. The other hand is some newer fans that are too young or too blind to understand what the show and studio actually are, since they fail to check what the characters should take and accountability, not to mention the countless detractors who barely watch it in its heyday or not at all, are quick to call them out as capitalist entirety for not understanding their work, and all these arguments will typically overlap. Before you ask, I'm aware they don't make up more than a subscriber base. The total of these groups is more likely not even close. It's their ideas to raise this much concern. I don't declare these channels are above criticism, it's that I really see it handled properly, since discussion is usually flooded with whining. To be fair, that also includes their widest of nights. This is why I believe the web series that try to emulate a TV show or film franchise should be held similar standards as those products to better learn the source material. Unfortunately, with the various missteps broadcast and entertainment has gone through as of late, I'm worried that could go the other way. I mean, haters have already given the SMG4 the Teen Titans Go treatment, aka mildly annoying plus popular equals bad, which was really popular cartoon reviews 3 years ago. Ironic how people who use a rally against mishandled franchise in a way now want to do it themselves, if you ask me. What's also been getting on the nerves is that certain folks have been using former Marxists to back up their arguments both against and for SMG4 instead of letting either show stand on its own. Yet again, I've been forced to mention funny Puppet Man for the sake of explaining how low critical judgment is in online entertainment. In fact, calling them arguments is really stretching because it's actually tweeting a bunch of GIFs in the replies telling me how much better it is. Yeah, that totally doesn't give an impression that you're childish prick, yet extreme forgiving for all the things SML has done to itself. You really want to know why we're not fans of them? Take a look at these clips and tell me how is this.
Dad, there's a creepy car behind me.
Oh, come on, don't pass it to Kyle Lowry. Jimmy Butler's right there, he's wide open. Oh, yeah, sorry, honey, were you saying something?
Dad! Dad! Dad!
Jimmy from three!
Step into three, put it on the board.
Or this.
Okay, snap a selfie real quick. Nah, I should smile more. Oh yeah, that's the one. Now what should the caption be? Oh, I know. Just found this golden egg and my friends didn't. Hashtag lame. Hashtag scrub. Hashtag loser woozer. Hashtag Jeez Louise. Hashtag gold digger. Post. Whoa!
Or even this.
So, Jeffy, what's something you always wanted to wish for?
PP sucking fairies.
Well, you already got one of those.
You'll be surprised that it's not me.
Wink, wink.
Jesus.
It's worth defending in your eyes. To put things in perspective, that would be like if I hated this.
There might come a time when I have to sell all this stuff. Probably not for a while, but it's something that I don't disregard, that nothing lasts forever. I'm happy to have been able to preserve it through my videos. I love being able to share this stuff. I hope to be able to do this as long as I can. This channel is all about remembering a simpler time, and if that's the kind of stuff you want to see, well, stay tuned.
Because I prefer this.
But that's it? We're stopping there?
Well, yeah, the movie did.
I didn't even get a line. Hell, I didn't even sing a song. What'd you even think of the movie?
Well, the movie ended on such an open vagueness that only makes sense that the review end on such an open vagueness.
It's a review! That's literally the opposite of what that is!
Okay! I liked it fine.
Yeah, me too.
A little full of itself, but good music and imagination.
Fair enough.
Do you get why we have a problem with SML fanboys? If that's not good enough, then take a good look at this history behind the scenes. Don't deny if it weren't an inclusion of such terrible character, they wouldn't have made so many mistakes. They would have still used plushies on the channel with 9 million subs. And hell, they might have made better content than anyone could enjoy if they listened. I wouldn't be talking back to these people or talking about SML this much if Logan wanted to be a good creator, but he isn't. Despite the drama, despite the incompetence, and despite the greed, none of that makes me hate him. I was critical of his action behavior while being annoyed with him for sure, but I never anticipated his downfall, and it's fucking depressing that most of his followers actually don't care about it, all that. If they really do love SML, where were they when he was getting demonetized? Why did they call him out for mocking his own fans, misleading others about his audience? And most importantly, were they there for him when he suffered abuse from his partners? Especially the one who gave his crew COVID and assaulted him at the gas station? He even referenced that he was going through in some of the field and hardly anyone offered him help or support. And I'm not talking about buying his merch, but again, who cares? Because according to his fans, I'm supposed to laugh at stuff like this chef humping the stove. Yeah, about that. I haven't forgotten the person who plays that character and his baggage. Seriously, Lovell standing as a scummy individual who's arguably worse than Logan. And SMF fans to this day praise his performance as Bowser, Chef, PB, and Charlie, which I'm not saying we're all bad since he is a good actor, but this is the same guy who bullies kids outside of his work, faked suicide, and mistreated his co-workers. If you're confused, then I recommend that dude's video on him for a better explanation. I want to make it clear that I'm not canceling Lovell. I'm pointing out why I disliked him and that you shouldn't look up to a group who can do no wrong like this. I won't be bringing this up if there was proof of him cleaning up his act. If you have anything that supports this, please let me know. Because unlike some people, I do wish these guys would change for the better. That includes Logan and Chili, who I remind you are about to become parents soon at the time this video is being made. I hope their career reputation doesn't get in the way of that. See? We can acknowledge fault in a YouTuber and dislike their content, but can still respect them as human beings and not compare them to other creators, which is their fans, and are desperate to do so any chance they get. I already knew it was falling apart before the season 6. The videos treated Mario franchise as an afterthought since it was leaning towards being a generic meme-spirited sitcom. Meme comedies can work with the right writing. Take that show about Philadelphia featuring Luigi, for example. But as a master, we know it doesn't make those ugly toys. But that's not what I'm looking at. Super Mario Logan, as what it used to be before cutting itself from its roots, at least deserves credit for introducing plus genre to many people that did come up with decent and at times solid videos at one point. But sadly, its refusal so to advance the genre in favor of bland content mode, letting the fans control the direction, was what prevented him from becoming one of the legends. And that's nothing short of tragic. With that said, I hope this is my final time I grip about Funny Puppetman in any capacity, because I mean this seriously, I do not want to talk about SML ever again. Good God, we're not even done with my frustration ranting one of my favorite YouTubers. There's another guy who's been paying in the ass just as long as not the worst of the crap I fanning out. We avoided saying his name out of fear that the flames would come our way. But now my friend figures we should get this out of the way. Not necessarily to stop the problem, but to get a chest. If you're familiar with the SMG4 community, you might already know who it is. No contact SMG4, aka Fickless. Oh, Fick. If the way you are, you act online at least. I don't understand why anyone considers you a fan of the series to begin with. First off, it's very clear you have a bias against current episodes with an attachment to the classic way deeper than it should. I mean, were they ever that good to justify a parasitical bond? This is coming from someone who still has a place in my heart for likes of Freddy Spaghetti and Samanar, so you can use the anti-classic argument against me. I understand it's not being your cup of tea. Different premises are not a bad thing, but that does warrant pessimistic whining like this, while supposedly making somebody feel ashamed for liking the show as it is. You're interpreting much of the modern cast as war crimes for existing and treat them as your digital punching bags, something that wouldn't be as embarrassing back when the dial-up was all the rage. This is especially true for Melanie, a character that in practice has become more than a girly stereotype, but apparently she leaks behind NPCs that lack a personality. Yes, you heard me, NPCs that only one or two staring videos during the era you love to highlight. And your main reason for that is that they don't fit in a world that's supposed to be chaotic. By that logic, the Amazing World Combat has no business having multiple art styles for the people, more in the insanity that goes on there. You also love your oversaturated minor flaws in the videos, as they were black marks that completely ruined the viewing experience. Not to mention making mountains out of molehills for something that was never an issue before then. Adding to the pile of overblown nitpicks, you constantly lament that SMG was not dedicated to continuing as a rule they broke years ago. When did Luke say he will never do big stories where the classic videos created with a strict set of rules in mind? That pretty much goes against the philosophy of the show being whatever it wants. This type of series you favor over something with depth and meaning while not abandoning its roots. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Warrior Bros were stuck in the bunker the whole time, and you wouldn't try without getting a meter to a face. Genius. Despite all that, you still watch the new videos regardless of quality. But hesitate to watch the biggest episode they ever put out. That seems pretty lazy. For a creator who tends reviewing everything, you did watch the anniversary movie, so didn't you stop there? What makes us believe you're not a great guy to talk to is overbearing mockery of SMG4's heartwarming moments. Because God forbid they implement anything or something wholesome, their world should be cynical 100% of the time, and we're not supposed to have any levity of our world being a bag of dicks. You make the hell of DeviantArt and doesn't care about the reason it hasn't been brought back while ignoring their long-term passion project that have been years of planning and work. Surprisingly, you don't consider yourself lucky. Your favorite duo hasn't been abandoned as if Luke didn't care for them at all. I swear if the series become less and less issues, instantly drop it. And one more thing, Super Mario 64 isn't the only game in existence, so quit pretending that it is. Now, we couldn't ignore all this appreciation for this favorite content creator and just look at him as an angry creator like anyone else. But we have good reasons to call him out on his behavior because we found something that goes beyond venting about seasonal rot. This is something no fan should ever do regardless of how they feel about source material. We know it could be worse, but in our eyes, no one should stoop this low. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look. In case you're confused, Figure thought it was a good idea to pretend to be the modern SMG4 fan who actively enjoys the current state of the show as an April Fool's prank. That's right. This man who is supportive of this channel, he enjoys mock the creative decisions that made him successful along the people who contribute and believes being respectful, while appreciating their work as a joke. Everything in these tweets and reviews are of absolute betrayals and the exact opposite of how he truly feels about the show and the fan he engages in. How powerful, spiteful do you have to be over a comedy that's still made for fun? In my mind, this shows kind of the person he really is. The kind who trade in their integrity, clout, and shun everyone who disagrees with him. The kind who takes advantage of divisiveness, spread hostility wherever they can. The kind who act like toddlers even when they get what they want. The kind who manipulate others into thinking well-meaning people aren't worth their time. And the kind who gladly bites the hands that feeds them and claims to be satire. Vic, we know what it's like to be unsatisfied with content creators' direction. Why do you think people are speaking against the puppet channel, whatever it's brought up the SMG4 discourse? But I'm being real here. None of your actions justify being an asshole, let alone pretend to be one for the sake of humor. Even if Luke and his team are careless corporate overlords, like anyone on Twitter labels them as. What you're doing still implies that you put the content first over the humans that develop it. You never appreciated Luke when he was in the prime and massacre propaganda as nostalgia. Claiming the series identity and humor changed overnight when fundamentally it's no different than it was a decade prior. It's rare to see you stand up for them, like when a mob begs for their termination, since being cringeworthy is enough to deserve your life would destroy. Because if I were you, I wouldn't let shit like this slide. In fact, I say you're secretly endorsing it considering the platform you're on and the follower count you have, because I don't see anyone your size talking positively about the show you base your identity on. Your attitude, especially in your review, is remarkably similar to that the mysterious Mr. Enter guy. A guy I'm sure you wouldn't resent making fun of back in the day. The difference is you don't clamor for reference to tragedies at SMG4 videos. But I guess a better example who you remind us is Stuart K. Riley. Back when he could keep popular YouTube poopers from YouTube out of elitism and treated smaller channels differently for the sources they use. Point is, you're basically feeling SMG4's downward spiral, and probably won't care if it was gone tomorrow since it was not funny enough to you. Any joke you make that isn't meant to be taken seriously, along with genuine bits of criticism you have, are still muddled by spite and hatred. How ironic you criticize Luke and Care for taking the show seriously when you expect everyone to listen, and why don't you like these stories and characters then post a clip of Maggie or Melly being slaughtered at the stake. Your gimmick account represents someone who can't handle changes, and your long mascot represents the length of your ego. I don't care if Luke happens to follow you back, because truthfully he deserves better. Stanley Mitchell was a better fan to his idol than you've been in the past 5 years. I'm sorry, but that's what this looks like to me. Look, I know I've been harsh to you throughout the segment, and I'm not sure if you're watching this video considering hardly anyone watches my stuff to begin with. But the reason I criticize you is that I really don't want to hate on anyone for what they prefer. There's a good chance I got everything wrong here, and you're actually a nice guy if I get to know you. Not just in real life, but you have to realize not every show is tailor-made for you, and you have to respect that. I will give you credit for calling out some of the fan base's stupidity on occasion, but that's about it. Everything else you do is an example of why people are unhappy with Twitter. Not to mention the gimmick accounts are poorly hiding their ugly personalities, and why fans of anything get really toxic in my opinion. If I was no longer a fan of SMG4 or any of their properties, I'll probably move on to the channels I still watch, maybe find genuine replacement. Or if I never liked the content, I wouldn't be endlessly ranting on it and defaming their presence online. I don't find anyone who follows you or to the people who associate with. None of this is revenge for you blogging me or kicking me on a Discord server. That's what you think. I'm saying you eventually lose your following and friends if you keep up your pretentious attitude. I'm not saying you should like the videos or be more fair to Luke's crew. I'm saying it would be hurt to be more respectful or approachable to others. Heck, if you're willing to, I'm offering you to reach out for me and Falcon the DMs if we're available, and if things go well, we could work out something out. We just want proper explanation for what you do, because this doesn't give us the whole picture, to be honest. The other viewers, I urge you to not attack Vic and anyone else I mentioned here, as that will hurt the community even more. I just want to throw out my problems with his position in the fandom, and it's mostly my opinion. Now that's finally over, it's time to head for the conclusion and finally end this son of a bitch. Before I close the video, you're likely wondering, why SW? Why do you and your buddies stand up for someone who will never notice you and is doing just fine despite all the hate? To tell you the truth, these thoughts aren't only mine. My script editor shares the same of his own thoughts here, since he's the one who can type in the proper English, which I'm honestly bad at myself. You take a look at my tweets and messages. That doesn't mean our video ratings such are exactly the same. Because he isn't the creator, and if he was, he wouldn't give the episode scores. But he is critical of the way showrunners in general are treated online. No matter how big their project is, none of this is white-knighting for Luke and Kevin as others trying to claim against us. Instead of expressing our love and passion for a show we bond over, and we're giving back to them the best way we can. Me and Falcon have been friends for over 3 years. We met right around when the Waluigi art was going on, and the only controversy was Mickey's old self. So it happened to be at the right time. Regardlessly, I'm lucky to have a guy like him around who at least understands what others are going through in life. Just like Luke and Kevin are lucky they didn't become one-trick pony like almost every other Mario parody out there, or channels that hit a brick wall when they become successful YouTubers. YouTubers are still people behind those sponsorship guys. Even when someone who's mostly known for voicing a character in a 2000s cartoon and is way out of their demographic, appreciate their silly videos. You should know that brothers are doing something right. If you're still confused as why we dislike the current state of the Twitter, then go check out Emblem's video on the website. Honestly, if they're still delivering on the plumber's hygiene after so long while playing promising shows they can call their own, what else can I really say? It's too bad pointing out the decline of a show is more regular than appreciating how consistent the quality of the show is if there isn't network middling involved presumably. The Glitch crew so far is proving themselves as a group who knows what they're doing by tackling unexplored group. They're passionate enough to call out Netflix for half-assing animation among all of the other bullshit that goes on in the industry by improving their own content to compensate. I go as far as to say they're no different than VisiPop and Spinhorse trying to improve adult animation and deserve the same amount of validation. That doesn't mean I'm blind not to call them out when they majorly slip up. In that case, I hope they never do. I don't really do this to change anyone's mind, which is why I'm not expecting the fandom to be 180 and improve after I release this video. I do this because I built years of trust into these creators and want to see them succeed out of their kindness to my heart. With YouTube constantly changing and being hit or miss. I can take comfort knowing my favorite YouTubers will hopefully triumph over it all and leave a legacy worth acknowledging. I can say wish Luke, Kevin, and their friends for years of entertainment. Good and bad is the way keep having fun with their job and they can prosper in life after being Morris rides into the sunset. As for the fan base, there's nothing I can really do about it except if you want to have fun in the community, then feel free to take a look at Glitch Productions No Context. It's a much better hub for fan content in my opinion. Oh boy, this ended up to be the longest video we ever done. So I hope you enjoy it and hopefully the April reviews will come out soon. As always, stay safe, wear a mask, give facts, and I can thank you enough if you're one of the few who stuck around my channel for this long. So please take it easy and peace out.